Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is July the 21st, 2017. This is home of cryptocurrency straight talk. No fancy setter graphics, just information, bringing you the international Bitcoin flavor. As many of you know, I am now in Brisbane, Australia until the end of the month. I am loving Australia. Last week we were in Perth. So in honor of this great country, we have 3 Australian-based guests. Again, 3 different ones from different cities than last time. We've got Adam Poulton. He's the president of the Blockchain Australia. He's coming from Tasmania. Hello, Adam.
Hello, Adam. How are you?
Okay, great. Igor Gorobin.
Hey.
He's also in Brisbane. How you doing, Igor?
Good.
And last but not least, Daniel Wilczynski of Adelaide. He's actually traveling right now, but he is based in Adelaide. So hello, Daniel.
Yeah, hey, how are you? Great to be on the show.
All right, so I am really pumped. We're going to start with Adam because he has the same first name that I do, and you know that's a good reason. Yeah. Adam, what's going on in Australia here in your opinion? Are people excited about segregated witness? Give us a general description of the Australian cryptocurrency ecosystem, I guess.
Yeah, the Australian ecosystem's really exploded in the last probably 6 to 12 months. From my point of view, I'm based down in Tasmania. We're a small state with 500,000 people. And yeah, to tell you the truth, down here there isn't a lot of activity, but I've got a lot of connections up in Melbourne and Sydney, Brisbane even, and I'm just seeing the size of the meetups and several meetups as well in the same cities just exploding in numbers from a few dozen probably a year ago to hundreds, several hundreds in some cases. So it's really exciting. There's a lot of new people coming in. And just through my business and my the association that I run, we're coming into contact with those people, and yeah, it's really exciting. It's what we've been waiting for probably 3 or 4 years now. A lot of people in the game thought bitcoins would take off quite quickly, and I think it's just taken a little bit longer than what we expected. But we're starting to see that now, so it's great.
Yeah, that's good news. And I linked to the Blockchain Australia below for those interested in that group, and you can tell us about that group a little later. I'm curious about it. I've heard its name repeated. Real quick though, Tasmania. Yeah, back in the United States, we've heard of Tasmania, and yeah. So there's not much activity down there. It is off of mainland Australia. It's its own island. So yeah. You do organize things. There is something down there, right?
I do organise things, and I suppose that's the beauty of having a small town and a small city, is like you can actually talk to just.
Ooh, you went mute. Speaking of talking, you muted yourself there, Adam. I believe you muted yourself. Can you hear Adam?
No, I can't hear him.
All right, let's. Oh, sorry. There you go. There you go. You're back again.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit of feedback from a little while ago.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll get back to you then. Let's move on to Daniel. Daniel, you are based in Adelaide. Has there been talk about segregated witness there? Are people excited that it looks like this is going to start? And how big is the community where you are?
Right. So I run a small exchange in Australia. I also run a meetup group in Adelaide, and our attendance doesn't get very big, usually around 8 people, but there has been more people coming, and especially the last year, and there's been a lot of people interested, especially the last year, in various altcoins, hoping to make some money, interested in Ethereum and other currencies. So there's also definitely speaking to my customers and speaking to the meetup group, and from my experience, 80–90% of people are very excited about segregated witness.
Were people worried beforehand? Because in America and Canada, people were super worried. It seems like the feel I've gotten from Australia is people were not worried. Did you get that feeling also, or what was the what were you feeling?
Yeah, I didn't get many people. I think not many people were worried. No.
Good.
Most people were very supportive and very excited. And sometimes I think maybe in America, maybe it was conferences, they can be the politics, but I think it can be a bit of a bubble when traveling around and being in Australia. A lot of people aren't actually paying as much attention to it as we might think on Twitter and these kind of conferences. So yeah,
I got that impression too, that it just on Twitter and in the conferences, people are more worried about these technical things, but on the ground, the real people are just like, yeah, it's all going to work out. I'm interested in Bitcoin for other reasons. Well, Igor, moving on to you. You're a dude who's been on. You've commented on my videos before. You're quite familiar with the channel and everything. So it's really cool to meet you in person. You're in Brisbane, where I am right now, and so we might see each other soon on the street. You never know. But tell us a little bit about yourself, I guess, and what do you think about Australia and Bitcoin and the scene in Brisbane?
Sure. Yeah, before I get into it, I want to welcome you to Brisbane. It's a nice city, and if you get a chance, definitely go to the Gold Coast if you get a chance. Okay. Okay, about myself. So I'm a software architect. I'm also a / engineer. So I have been involved in this space for probably about 1.5 years. So I'm still a noob, I guess, in this space. I've recently been involved with Stratis development team. So we are doing some development at the moment. I can't disclose what exactly we're doing, but because I'm a .NET, Microsoft .NET programmer, Stratis was like a natural choice for me because they run on C#. So that's me. I've also been playing with Ethereum and Solidity. I've been doing some smart contracts as well. About Bitcoin, I'll tell you, not many people understand what Segwit is. They don't even know what it stands for. So like over here, like if you tell someone, I'm running a Facebook group. I've got a few people in that group, and people have no idea what Segwit is. They don't know what hard fork, what soft fork is. As far as they're concerned, the fork is something you eat with, like for me to explain what the fork is a bit hard, like really. I guess the best analogy I could say, like, you've got the Excel files from Office 97 and 2003, and hard fork is like if you're trying to open new Excel format file in your old Excel 97, 2003, you won't be able to open it. So that's your hard fork, really. And, like soft fork is probably just like when you get an upgrade on your Windows, and that's your soft fork, just a small patch that's backward. You don't have to install it, but it's better to install it because you get an upgrade.
So wow, like, that was. I mean, this is funny stuff. I love this stuff. Dude, pound that like button, people. I am laughing my butt off with the fork thing. That was really good. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So like I run a group. Like a lot of people have no idea, and what I find also, like maybe just the audience that I talk to, like they just wanna. A lot of them think it's a get rich scheme, a quick scheme. Like they just even skip Bitcoin, Ethereum. They jump straight into all these alts and like without any bloody idea about what Bitcoin is, what blockchain is. They just want to make a quick buck, and that's what pisses me off. And then the other thing about Australia is that we get news a lot, like news.com, one of those popular news websites. And anytime you hear about Bitcoin, it's usually in a bad light. It's usually that Bitcoin is used by criminals, by terrorists, that it's a bad thing, all that bullshit. It's just like crazy. So like what I'm getting at is that there's a lot of uneducated people with Bitcoin, and there's lack of content online. I guess your best chances to get into Bitcoin and understanding is to like watch a lot of YouTube videos, like channel like yours, Adam. There's World Crypto Network. There's a lot of nice YouTube channels out there. There's meetups as well, like Adam and Daniel, like talk to people like that, get into it and understand before you even start investing, understand what Bitcoin is.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say you got. I had no idea you were involved with Stratus. So people always ask me about altcoins like that, and I don't know if you know me. I don't know about Stratus, but hey, pound that like button if you like how he got that plug in there, and I had no idea it was coming. But I will say that I have in Australia. One of the weird things I have noticed is there are a few people here and there that seem to have jumped over a few steps and getting into ICOs and have never sent a Bitcoin. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit here.
Yeah.
So on that note, Adam, what are you feeling about these ICOs and the progression of the cryptocurrencies in general that we're seeing here? And are people getting into ICOs in Australia at too fast a pace?
Yeah, I think the ICOs are a great idea. It opens up funding for new businesses and allows entrepreneurs to share their great ideas and get some money and some seed round straight away, and that's great. And I agree with Igor. There's a lot of people that feel they've missed the Bitcoin boat, and they're getting into all these altcoins, and it is kind of annoying, but that's the way it is. And I suppose, like I said, they feel a bit hard done by that they did miss the Bitcoin boat. I personally don't think that they have. There's still a long way to go. And yeah, but I mean, part of what I do with my business is to I suppose, lower the barrier and try to make Bitcoin just money. People don't really have to know much about money. They just use it. They don't have to understand the backing and the technical side behind it. And so, yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of people that use my service. First time they've ever received a Bitcoin is from us, and I think that's great. And just allows people to play around with the technology and to start using Bitcoin and learn from there.
All right, now I want to continue on this subject with Daniel. I think, Daniel, did you mention Ethereum before? Did you mention that you do stuff with the? I forgot. I got confused.
I don't do anything with Ethereum.
Oh, right. But so, are you into altcoins at all? And what do you think? Yeah. And what do you think about these ICOs that are going on?
Right. So I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but I'm very much pro Bitcoin. So most of my personal money is in Bitcoin, but I do have a few alts that I find interesting, including Ethereum. I find Monero interesting also. So, I think there's potential, and there might be a future where different currencies with different benefits exist. And regarding ICOs, again, I think theoretically, I think very interesting, but there's a lot of work needs to be done. I think there would be a great future if there can be some kind of partnership with governments where the ICOs, the tokens that are released, are actually legally recognized as representing ownership in a company. That would be something very exciting, because then they actually have legally recognized tangible value and represent something. Right now, a lot of people are trying to get rich quick, selling the ICOs. As there really is an ICO mania, and a lot of people trying to get rich also buying the ICOs, and a lot of them are newbies. And I just hope we don't get burned. I think a lot of them will get burned. But that's how it is.
Yeah, you learn from losing money, I guess.
That's right.
That's a lesson. Now, all right. You said you hope that one day the government will legally recognize ICOs. How far off do you think that is, though? I mean,
it's I can't imagine it happening within the next 10 years. Maybe after 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 20s. We talk about the year 2020 here a lot. Pound that like button, right, people, if you like me bringing up that year 2020 of the Bitcoin halving. Well, Igor, as you know, that so many new people entering the space, most of them don't even know what the Bitcoin halving of 2020 is. So it's our responsibility to tell them. Now, besides Stratus, do you have altcoins of? And you mentioned it. You mentioned Ethereum.
Yes, that's right.
Well, give us what you think's going on with Ethereum right now. And do you have any other altcoins you wanted to just say that you personally are interested in? People do hear this.
Yeah, sure. Like I do have like fair few altcoins, but my majority of my portfolio is in Bitcoin because that's a stable coin that you invest in, and that will always make you money. It will steadily grow. It's got limited supply. It's got number of features that definitely make it attractive. There are other altcoins that are good that they're trying to tackle a different niche of the market, like Ethereum. I don't think they're competitors really. All that talk about flipping and all that bullshit, I don't follow that. Like Ethereum is good. Like it's a very good technology. They're good. The whole concept of smart contract is great. But I don't believe in price of it. Like it just doesn't make sense. The whole idea with Ethereum is that it's unlimited and it's like a fuel for the apps. So like the more apps you have, the more fuel you need. So there's a demand and supply. And you just buy more Ethereum to buy gas with it, and then you run your dApps on it. So it can't be that expensive. It's like going to petrol station or gas station, like you say in the US, and buying petrol for like $100 a liter. That's just stupid. It doesn't make sense. So there's a lot of speculation going on, and a lot of companies backing it. But if Microsoft says it's backing it, doesn't mean it's putting money into it or anything. It's all just crap, like they're backing it, they're looking into it, but it doesn't mean that they'll use it or invest in it.
Yeah, that point has been brought. That's a very good point. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so like it's definitely a good technology. It will evolve, whether it's going to be Ethereum or Stratus or Lisk or EOS or Tezos, whoever will become first. Like whenever they launch a first production app, I know there's a lot of tokens and all that built on Ethereum, but there's not a single real live use app at the moment. They've got some gambling apps at the moment, but that's about it. And the other problem with Ethereum is that they've got too many tokens built on it, and they don't have side chains. So it just puts too much stress on Ethereum. And having said that, you've probably all heard the 32 million hack that happened this week. That's just stupid. Like to me, like if you look at the contract that they've done, all they've done, the developer of the smart contract just scoped the init function, and that's the function that initializes the contract, sets the owners. He put a public instead of private. That's just such a rookie mistake. So what that allowed the hacker to do is just assign himself as an owner and just get all the money. Come on, like I know there's a big rush to get into the market and stuff, but you're dealing with people's money. You have to test your code. You have to look at your code and understand what's going on. You can't just do things like that. It's just crazy. 32 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, that is. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, Adam, what do you think about Ethereum? What do you think about that hack? Is Ethereum the number 2 cryptocurrency here in Australia too?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I don't look too much at Ethereum. I've got the whole Bitcoin ecosystem and the whole crypto ecosystem is getting very large now, and I've sort of been selectively moving away, if that's a good phrase. So I think Ethereum's a good idea. It's obviously got a lot of uses. Like Igor said, I think the price has jumped up a bit quickly, and it's probably at a size and scope that I probably don't quite understand. But it's got a lot longer to go, a lot more development to go, and it'd be interesting to watch it. My sort of reasons for getting into the crypto space was purely economic and the scarcity of money, and so that's why I'm sort of concentrating on Bitcoin and Bitcoin businesses and Bitcoin adoption. And so I'm not a world-renowned expert on Ethereum by any stretch.
Yeah, I want to. You're clearly very bullish on Bitcoin. Where do you see it at the end of this year? In terms of price, do you see more turbulence, or do you see just a clear road ahead?
I see a pretty good bull run once these fork issues are out of the way. From my understanding, there's probably a few more little hurdles to get through a bit later this year and early next year. But I see the price being higher. probably a little bit less volatile once these hurdles get overcome. But yeah, volatility on the upside is always the main game with Bitcoin, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Daniel, do you have any thoughts on this? I think you were laughing at the Ethereum thing before, but any thoughts on how bullish on Bitcoin are you? Do you have a price prediction or anything like that? Ethereum thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I find making predictions is always risky, and I always find, especially with Bitcoin, in the short term, it always does the opposite of what everybody expects it to do. So, you have to be careful, especially in the short term. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty bullish. Price predictions. I've been so wrong so many times regarding prices, but I'll give you one, and I think it's within the next 6-7 months. I think it's going to get to around $4,000 US, $5,000 US. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I've been 5,000 is a number that has become a legitimate number that I've heard others say too. All right, so Igor, let's hear another Australian Bitcoin number there. People are curious. What do the people in Australia think about the numbers, the future here of Bitcoin?
Well, it's almost impossible to predict the price, right? This Bitcoin, like, there is no precedent or anything for the price. So, I guess like it will probably have a run, like I reckon, like in August till November, October, until we get to that 2 megabyte block debate again, and then we'll probably have a dip again. It'll be like all talk and like there'll be some politics, and we'll get over it, and hopefully next year I'm thinking like 4,000 or 5,000, but it's just like the number out of thin air. I have no idea. What I know, it will be higher than what it is now.
That's the Adam Meister answer there. It will be higher than it is now in the year 2020. That's what I tell everyone. So there's no shame in not giving a number. Pound that like button, everyone, if you're enjoying the show so far. And remember, if you are a subscriber, to always bang that bell button so you get updates. And of course, the shirt links are below, and you can get your Trezor below and all of that fun stuff also. Okay, so let's get into some people's, what do they do? What do they want to talk about here? Adam,
Yes.
What's going on? What's your personal story here? What do you want to you've got the floor here. Tell us about you and cryptocurrency Bitcoin, what you're doing.
Yeah, well, there's two main organizations that I work in. It's all in my spare time. I do actually have a day job, and that is in the techno space, I suppose. I work at a boutique-sized telecommunications company. We run internet services in Tasmania, and we've just recently introduced gigabit internet services. And so that's quite exciting because there's obviously business can be done quicker and faster. And I think that ties quite nicely in with the crypto story as well. So we're sort of envisaging that this gigabit internet service is going to bring a lot of business, a lot of new business and international business to Tasmania. And I'm sort of hoping that we can get Bitcoin on that ride as well, and sort of incorporate it into the normal everyday economy. The two organizations that I mentioned before are Get Paid in Bitcoin, which is my business that I run. We pay people's wages in Bitcoin, or a portion thereof. And so that's been growing steadily over the last 6 months or so. And the other organization is Blockchain Australia. And I've had a little bit of a hiatus from Blockchain Australia for the last few months. I've just been busy with other things, but we primarily an organisation that tries to reach out to government and interact with government on the recent GST rulings that they had, for example, and to try to educate them and try to get fairer law and tax law into place. And we try to interact with the community as well, small businesses and individuals that want to learn about Bitcoin, and go to meetups and attend events and educate themselves on what Bitcoin is.
Are there any meetups or events scheduled for Bitcoin related matters in Tasmania anytime soon you want to mention?
Yeah, not coming up. I do run events from time to time, but yeah, being a small population, it's yeah, a handful here and there, and I think I get a lot more done just meeting with people as we come in contact.
All right. And are there any general Bitcoin stories from this week you want to bring up that I haven't mentioned, actually? Because this week has just been dominated by the segregated witness thing, which we're all very happy about, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's good that there's been resolution. It's like uncertainty is always a bad thing in marketplaces and in business places. So yeah, I think it's a very positive move forward. And
is there any other things, any other stories of any sort that I missed out on or anything like that?
I don't think so. No. I'd be interested in hearing it from Daniel and Igor, because I've never met these two young men before. And
yeah, I guess so. Let Daniel. Same questions there. Tell us about yourself and just any news stories that I might have left out.
Right. So yeah, my background is actually an engineer, but like I said, right now I run a small Bitcoin broker service in Australia and some meetup groups. In terms of news stories, maybe this is something you covered before, but
wait a second, before you go to the news story, what's the name of your brokerage, or do you want people to know that?
hardblog.net.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I saw the URL for that. I didn't ask you if it was. Yeah, I forgot to ask you about that. Okay, that's good. Well, remind me to put that link below. Always check out the notes section below. We do have links. But okay, continue with the news. Sorry.
Yeah. So maybe you can listen to the previous shows because it happened recently. But the GST ruling in Australia, I think that was a pretty big issue, and it's a very positive thing. But the government actually made rules, but a pro Bitcoin, but help Bitcoin users, because the GST issue, well, it was a reasonably big issue. So for your audience, GST is basically value-added tax. When traders or exchanges like me were selling Bitcoin, we were supposed to pay extra 10% tax on the Bitcoin, which is obviously impossible to do. And there were kind of ways to get around it. And I think a lot of the traders on local Bitcoins were basically just actually ignoring the ruling. But yeah, it was an issue, but it's actually resolved now, and it got resolved faster than I expected. So that was a very good thing.
Yeah, we did bring up, and that is a huge news that Australia is not double taxing Bitcoin. Has made it.
That's
and
right.
Adam actually mentioned that. I guess you talked to the government about that a little bit. And yeah, that is awesome and is worth repeating. And I think that's part of the reason it's becoming more popular here. Would you agree with that, Igor? Not Igor, Daniel. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if everybody in Australia, a lot of the newbies might not even know that much about this. So I think it's just becoming popular just because people are just hearing more about it. But yeah, I mean, everything is getting better. It's improving. People are hearing about it more very often, hearing positive things, not only negative things like before, but sometimes there is positive things like the GST ruling. So that might tip them over into deciding to get into Bitcoin. The other thing I think is coming from the government, which unfortunately isn't as positive, but it had to come, is that soon I think exchanges will be required to do IML KYC when interacting with Bitcoin. And I think pretty soon the government is gonna, right now, traders and exchanges don't actually have to do IML KYC. They often do to protect from fraud. But I'm guessing that reasonably soon the government in Australia will introduce some rules and requirements for exchanges regarding KYC, IML type regulations.
Yeah, that's obviously expected. It's unfortunate. So you're saying right now there's no KYC. I mean, they're not strictly enforcing KYC know your customer regulations on you guys?
No, no, because I mean, Bitcoin is classified as a good. It's not classified as money. So yeah, we don't actually strictly have to do it.
Okay, that's good. And this is interesting. Igor, any comments on what was just said? Any stories you want to add?
Yeah, I had a question actually to all you guys, like not you, Adam, because you're not in Australia, but if you read ATO, which is Australian Tax Office page about the Bitcoin, they've got like a whole page describing the Bitcoin and disposal of it and dealing with it and business. But like when I read that paragraph, it's just one paragraph about disposing the Bitcoin as an investment. In that one single paragraph, it's got like 3 or 4 howevers. It's got like 2 or 3 of those, and it's got like 2 see above. And you go like up, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. Like my wife, she's like an accountant, and she has some senior accounts. They even can't make sense out of a lot of it. So it seems like the government doesn't even know itself what to do with it. Like it's very confusing the way they wrote it. Because basically they're saying there won't be any tax. It's not considered as an investment. You won't be assessed on any capital gains. But then it says, although you could be, you go up, it says, yeah, if you buy it, you could be assessed. But there's nothing specific about how it's all assessed. So as far as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're disposing more than $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, you will have to pay capital gains. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I understand as well. Yes.
Yeah. So like it's just so confusing, and my comment about the regulations, I don't think they can regulate. That's the whole idea with this decentralized Bitcoin. I don't know what they can do. They can only regulate exchanges, I guess. They can ask for data to be released to the ATO, but you could, by the same token, keep your money in American exchange.
Yeah. Well, I think what Bitcoin does is introduces a brand new cash market to Australia, and there are rules and regulations about what you do with cash, even, but it's on the honor system. You have to obviously tell the tax department what you've done and declare your earnings, and so it's basically the same rules in crypto now. I mean, you can break the law, but if you're caught, you'll get in trouble.
Yeah, that's right. But,
yeah, and I mean, at the moment, most people probably aren't using Bitcoin in large transactions. They're not using it at the car dealership, for example, to buy vehicles or purchase houses. So yeah, I'm sort of taking a wait and see approach and see if they can get a little bit more clarity in their language, because I agree it is very confusing. And hopefully, sort of when the Bitcoin does sort of mature a little bit and people do start using it for regular business-to-business transactions and large transactions, that the tax law is a little bit clearer.
Yeah, because at the moment you can't really use Bitcoin for like everyday transactions. It's like taking a brick of gold and saying, I want to buy a car or something. Like it takes too long to confirm all the transactions, and it's not what the purpose of Bitcoin, I guess, is. The Litecoin is probably could be used for. But who knows, in the future, maybe if they resolve all the scaling issues, you could use Bitcoin. But it just doesn't make sense to me at the moment to pay my bills, or I'll go to those ATM or pay for beer in some night, like Sydney clubs, using my Bitcoin. Why would I spend my deflationary currency if I could just use Australian dollars to do that and just keep storing Bitcoin? It's just a bit weird.
Yeah, it's Gresham's law. Good money pushes out bad money.
I agree with that one too. It's not for coffee for me. I mean, do you guys encounter people who want to use it that way, or is it generally the people you encounter using it as a store of value?
Well, I encourage.
Oh, you go.
I encourage people to use it that way, but no, I also encourage them to get a steady stream of Bitcoin in. So my philosophy is that you should use Bitcoin wherever you can. Make sure that your Bitcoin balance never drops, and like I said, just use it as money. So
make sure your Bitcoin balance never drops. That is a good strategy. If you're going to spend it, make sure it never keep on bringing it in, people. That is
really good. So I've got clients, for example, they get $100 of their weekly wages in Bitcoin. And so because they've got that $100 worth coming in every week, each and every week, if they're at the pub and they want to show off to their mates and buy a beer with Bitcoin for $10 worth, it's not really going to hurt their net balance. Whereas if you don't do that, you show off, you look back in a year's time and you think, well, those beers have cost me hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't see. I know some people who pay bills, and like there could be a benefit because apparently you're not taxed. Like because you are paying bills directly with Bitcoin, so you don't have to then. There's some benefit of it. Still trying to
Daniel. You had a lot to say there. I could tell on one of those things. Do you have anything to add to this? You're about to talk there.
Yeah. No, I certainly. I use Bitcoin wherever I can personally, and for whatever I can use it for, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's coffee, beer, and BPMs and whatever I can use it for. If I can, I try to use it. And you can always, you don't want your balance to go down, but you can always top it up. So I don't find that argument convincing. I just spend it and then buy more. The more Bitcoin I can have, obviously, is the better. But yeah, and in terms of using it for coffee, I think there is. I'm very much pro Bitcoin, pro Segwit, and you could, in terms of a debate, you would probably put me more in the pro small block camp, even though nobody likes to be pigeonholed too much because my views differ. But yeah, I think why can't Bitcoin be used for coffee? And we've just recently Bitfury released one of their Lightning implementations, and there was also Eclair Wallet, which is a Lightning wallet, was just released for Lightning Network. So people are experimenting, things are going ahead, and I get so excited when I use Bitcoin to purchase anything. It's such an exciting feeling, and I think we will have that. I hope we will have that, and I think we will have that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move to the conclusionary part of the show here, as we're getting toward the end. I'll start with you, Daniel. Was there anything that I left out here? Anything you wanted to mention? Anything you wanted to promote? Anything you wanted to ask anybody else on the panel here? The floor is yours.
Not particularly. I guess one news story we could briefly touch on is the AlphaBuy got shut down. So that's an interesting piece of news. I'm not sure if anybody has any thoughts on that.
Well, I actually, it is what it is, and some people's transactions might have been monitored by a government entity of some sort that busted them. I've always wondered, why isn't Monero? I thought they were using Monero on these dark markets, and nothing seems to have happened with Monero. So that's actually a good segue into Igor. What do you feel about the AlphaBuy thing? Any Monero thoughts that surround it? Anything you wanted to bring up?
I don't actually follow Monero. I know what it's used for, and
okay.
I know, but I haven't actually subscribed to any of the news. I have no idea what's going on.
Okay, I thought you were a privacy dude or something. So no, but do you have any thoughts on the AlphaBuy situation?
I haven't heard about AlphaBuy. Okay. Like, I don't know.
In Australia, they're following the laws. They're a good legal people. They're not on that dark market. I mean, hey, it's an interesting. I mean, it's bigger news out in our little ecosystem on the internet. People, I think it's over. I don't know. I don't want to give it. Adam, any thoughts about these dark markets? And
yeah, again, I've got no idea. I haven't even heard of AlphaBuy. I don't think
this is great stuff, actually. Yeah. I mean, because back in the United States, a lot of talk about cryptocurrency involves, dark markets, and you hear you hear the officials worried about the dark markets. You hear people perhaps wanting to participate in the dark markets, wanting to buy coins that are anonymous coins. So no, this is a good perspective, actually. But so Adam, going back to, do do you have any conclusionary things that we left out here today? Any stories you want to mention? Anything you want to promote? Just anything you want to ask the other guys?
Yeah, I'd like to keep in contact with the other guys. Like we obviously all live in Australia, and it'd be good to talk to them again. I think we've covered everything pretty well. I just encourage everyone to have a go. And at the last few meetups that I've been in, I've come across, I come across it every day actually, people that talk about Bitcoin, they're interested in Bitcoin, they want to know more about it, and then 6 months or 12 months later, they're still interested but not participating. And so I encourage them all to risk $5 or $10, put it in a Bitcoin ATM or get some wages or go to an exchange and buy some, and you can learn a lot.
Good advice. And these guys, you will network. Pound that like button, people, if you like networking, that the Bitcoin Meister is bringing people from all over Australia together. By the way, watch last week's This Week in Bitcoin if you want to see more people from Australia talking about Bitcoin and networking, because they all got to know each other too. And I think Adam actually knows a couple of them, or at least one of them. So yeah. Igor, we're going to let you conclude the show here with anything that you really want to say or bring up, anything that was left out, anything you want to ask the other guys or anything.
Sure. Yeah, I've got the Facebook group as well, so I'll send you a link, Adam. You can share it too. I encourage people to just sign up. The only problem with it, I've got a few Russian friends in there, so it's sometimes Russian. So what you do, you kind of click see translation button, and you can actually see what they're talking about. But sometimes Facebook translation is pretty bad. So anyway,
this Facebook group of yours, is it Australian based, or is it people from all over the world that are in it?
Oh no, just Australia. I want to keep it like scoped to Australia. It's not like there's no point. There's too many groups out there, and I really want to have like Australian perspective on this whole thing. So yeah, I mean, if you're in US, you could sign up, but I don't know if you get much.
No. I just wanted so there are a lot of Russian speakers here in Australia, I guess.
Yeah, there's a big community of like Eastern Europeans in general.
Yeah.
Sure, like, and regarding like the whole Bitcoin space, like I really encourage people to go and like buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Don't like get a mortgage and go all in, you know. Like that's just stupid. Or even if you've got like, let's say $5,000, you want to invest somewhere, don't go and put all 5,000 into Bitcoin. Try like little amounts. Try see what it is. Read about it. Just get used to it, and then buy more and more. Like don't just get in, and definitely don't skip Bitcoin and go into all these alts. Like just don't do it. That's just the wrong thing to do. Maybe once you get familiar with Bitcoin, yeah, go and play and trade and whatnot. Don't do day trading as well. You lose a lot of money. Don't get into all this. There's a lot of scams as well out there. Like just be careful. If someone's promising you like 3, 4, 5% a day or some bullshit like that, that's a scam. Nobody's gonna give you all that shit. And also like there's a lot of talks about trading bots and all that crap. There's no trading. They just try to sign you up, and then they're just making money from new people joining in, and then just pay from those people. Just a classical Ponzi scheme, you know. Like just don't get into it. Just do normal. Just buy Bitcoin, hold it. If you're feeling adventurous, trade little bits and pieces. Just do that. Don't go all in, really.
Dude, that is awesome conclusion to this show. You sound a lot like me with your warnings there, and that's really good advice there, and it is a good way to end this show today. So, guest, thank you so much for being on the show, giving us that Australian flavor. Pound that like button, people, if you like the show, and if you like that closing statement by Igor, which was totally awesome. I am Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the notes section below. We're here every Friday for This Week in Bitcoin. It's Saturday morning here in Australia, but for lots of people, it's Friday. And I do a new show here every single day. We have guests from all over the world. Check out the archives. Thanks a lot, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.